Hi, this is Dr. Kimberley Linert, and I'm here today with Tammy Allen, and we wanted to talk about how to raise your adversity quotient. Your adversity quotient is a score that measures the ability of a person to deal with adversity, which we are all going through right now.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, Tammy, how do we raise this adversity quotient?
Well, I like to think of things very simply. And so what I think is you just stop. Adversity happens. It could be an emergency situation. It could be what we're currently experiencing. It could be economic difficulty that everybody's going through in the entire world, not just us. Of course, the fear of the virus. And, that hits on the two biggest fears of every human being on the planet. The fear of survival of your health and the fear of survival of your economic wellness. That's, so everybody is extremely activated. And so, my typical response that I learned actually early on in my life was stop. The first thing you do is stop. Stop everything. Do not panic. Stop. And then you have to assess the situation. And then once you've assessed the situation, you've asked questions, then you act. And this can happen in a split second, or it can happen, on a repeat level. Like we had our earlier interview where I talked about problem solving and the process that I do for that. It's similar to that, only you're acting very quickly in the moment. So everybody panics the first thing, right? That's kind of our go-to human response. It's the fight or flight. So the first thing people usually do is, that's all of us, right? Well, I had a mother that was like that. And this was, in a sense, I always look at adversity as opportunity. Mm-hmm. It ultimately is. It's the evolution of our species. But my mother, she would panic, and I was the oldest. And so somebody has to not panic. So I learned it at a pretty early age. And I'll give you an example of a panic situation where I really paid attention and it taught me. So my mother, we were deep sea fishing, and she was not good at anything.
Oh, no.
My poor mother, she tried, her best, but, she just, she wasn't very, sports, everything like that. She just wasn't good. So anyway, we're deep sea fishing, and she goes to cast out her line, and in her, not coordinated way, the hook on the fish line catches the lid of my sister's eye.
Oh, gosh.
Right. So that's an adversity situation. You
Yep.
know what my mother does? Throws down the pole. I'm sitting next to my sister. I'm about 13, 14. And I look over at her, and I could see it was just like hanging on the edge of her eyelid. And so I didn't panic. I just looked. And I saw that, and I just went, and I just pushed it out. Everything was fine. So, it really taught me, and throughout my life, whenever she would panic, I would get still. It's like time has to stop. And when you talk to people that have been in accidents and those types of things, they all talk about time slowing down.
Yes.
And it does. It does. And so the key, and it's been my whole life, when trouble happens, when something happens, whether it's an emergency like that, or even when I heard that, all of our jobs were canceling. We're in the event business. We were slated for our best year ever, and everything was super busy and just go, go, go. And all of a sudden it all canceled. And when my husband called and said this one that he was right in the middle of was trying to cancel, and the other, it was like, I just stopped. You just get very still. You don't do any response, right? So the first thing you do is just stop. No matter what it is, stop. Yes, if you can breathe, but if you'll just be like the eye of the storm, don't think, don't do anything. Just completely empty your mind, and you just observe, right? And as soon as you observe, now next you assess. I looked over my sister's eye and the hook, and I was just like, oh. Well, the next line.
You're laughing then.
Well, I didn't even think about it. To tell you the truth, it was just like an automated, stop. And I look at the situation, and then I could see, well, there it was. So, the next step was I just pushed it out of her eye very, calmly and gently. And so that is the type of response you want to have no matter what happens, whether it's economic adversity, whether you've been hit with a serious diagnosis, and there's all kinds of things that we can get hit with like that, or it's for a loved one. Sorry, no matter.
Could you say it again, please?
that was Siri giving me an automated response. Or I guess she, you know what? Maybe she was trying to assess the situation. I don't know. That's odd. This is not a conversation for you, Siri. So anyway, so just getting back to no matter what it is, if you can just stop and think in terms of time stopping itself, right? So it's like you're going to remove yourself. And a lot of people say stop and breathe, but it's actually a little more than that. It's becoming the observer of the situation rather than being in it. It's like you separate yourself. You just have to separate.
Like you're the third person, like you're looking, kind of looking from outside.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe just a different perspective.
It is, but I never really thought about it that hard. Of course, as an adult, I'm trying to describe it, but it became an automated response, which has really served me my whole life. When other people are panicking, I just don't. That's not to say I do everything correctly, of course, but I just don't panic, and it's just a very good thing. So thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom. That was she gave me many good things by not being good at them. You know what I mean? And we could do that from our parents. She loved me to death. She was an awesome mother, did her best, but we still have traits of parents that, we learn what to do, what not to do. We try to take the best. We try not to do, so she gave me a lot of gifts, and I credit a lot of my childhood, or a lot of my strength now, with the difficulty in childhood, and that's, again, the difficulties that you have, they're all learning opportunities and experiences, and this one is no different than that. Even though so much is changing right now, we just have to stop, continue to assess. We take the action that we can take, and then you do it over and over and over and over, and eventually you're going to adapt to whatever occurs. No matter what it is. We are adaptable human beings. That is what we have done since the beginning of man, or we wouldn't even be here. And it is actually problems. Problems is what makes for evolution, both of us on an individual level, but also in regards to the entire world. Somebody invented air conditioners. You know what I mean?
Goodness.
I know, airplanes, somebody wanted to fly, they cars. I often think about all of the amazing things. Who invented chain link fences?
I don't know, but somebody probably who had a dog.
Yeah,
or some.
The littlest things that we take for granted, somebody had that idea, followed through, executed, and now we benefit. Dishwashers, washing machines, all of this stuff has made it so that we have more time, but the evolution never ends. It never, ever ends. So we have a new playing field. It's a new game. We don't know what it's going to be. So right now is the time just to be taking the action that you can take, but really staying calm and assessing, because until it kind of really goes down, till it really kind of solidifies itself, there's nothing we can do but stop our minds from the fear response, because it is the fear and the panic that is what makes the body vulnerable to sickness. It is what prevents ideas and inspiration from happening. Fear is what is it that Roosevelt said? Do you remember? The only thing we have to fear is fear
itself. Yes.
But, so what an opportunity this is for us to overcome our fear. And when I first started reading about it, I knew I kind of had a sense of what this was going to be. And I immediately started taking action. I have another response from another family member that served me early on. I had an aunt who, her husband died, and he was a wonderful husband, and she loved him, but she just froze. And she still had children, and we went to visit her, and she was just sitting there doing nothing, and ended up losing her house, electricity go off and everything. And I was a young woman, I was like, why aren't you doing anything?
Yes.
You know it's coming. You know it's coming. So be prepared as much as you can be. Take whatever action you can take in the moment, right? So I did see it kind of coming, and I knew that this was an opportunity for me to really test my ability to not respond with fear of sickness, fear of economic ruin, even though I knew darn well that we were facing, I knew it right away. Event business, we're on the front line, immediate impact. But that means I have to get very, very calm. And I really have looked at this as an opportunity for me to get very good at not responding with fear, to minimize it, not to say that it's there for a reason, but I try to minimize it and not let it get super activated, because I'm human too, you know. All we can do is learn to kind of manage our responses and navigate this game as well as we can. And the more that we live and the more experiences that we have, every time you have a success, celebrate it. Woo, I did that. Woo, I did that. And then, you just navigate your way. And now we got a whole new playing field in front of us. We don't know what it's going to be. So some people will think of this as opportunity. A lot of people will benefit off of that. And we all know that every time there's a big economic downturn, some people benefit and some people really go down. You don't want to be one of the people that really go down. This is an opportunity to reinvent yourself. Opportunity is everywhere. And the future of jobs has been going towards the gig economy anyway. One of the things that artificial intelligence, all this automation, it's going to give us more free time to choose other things to do. So now could be the time to start little businesses. Every single kind of work is honorable. I don't care what niche can you fill? What is the opportunities that I have for myself? And just during this time, I have been thinking of opportunities for others and seeing them myself. This is an opportunity. My husband and I, we like doing art and design. I'm an artist and sculpture, and he likes remodeling. And so the very day we found out that we were not going to have any business for the year, that was the day I was doing my taxes and I'd already started talent, art, and design, right? And so I'm like, wow, this is the perfect opportunity to lay the foundation for that, right? Because we were going to do it much later, but we can do it now. And then we can still have our other business as it comes back. And then, I have a young girl that I've been mentoring for a long time, and I call her Sprout. And so she is she got the scholarship for the Gates Foundation, and she's got her doctorate. And so she came up with Sprout Schoolhouse, because sproutschoolhouse.com, everybody is going to be needing assistance because all of the homeschooling. So she can turn it into opportunity. And then I'm afraid we have to let go of my wonderful assistant. I love this woman, and she is just, anything I need done, she gets done. And so I looked up your admin helper, and it's available. So she's going to start a virtual admin thing. So then I told you about my scoliosis in our last interview.
Yeah.
I've had scoliosis for years. Only was aware of it for the last 3 years. I had been just doing everything I could, researching, and I never give up. One of the things is never give up. A health diagnosis, you just can't accept failure as an option, especially when it comes to your health.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Especially then. And I just refused. But I'm going to tell you, it was when I was really having a hard time functioning and it started waking me up at night, it can get pretty discouraging. And, if you listen to doctors, they say there's no cure for that, or surgery. And we know surgery is not a good idea. Well, I kept looking, and I found a place called Complete Spine Solutions. And they had an amazing facility. They've got a whole system for backs, necks. It's like for the scoliosis and for many other things, they do a targeted force. So like for me, my spine is like this. So they took x-rays and all of the different pictures and gave me a specific program, and they do corrective chiropractic in those spots. They do traction. It's just this amazing, amazing system. And I'm like, oh, so even,
Wonderful. Wonderful.
even through all of this adversity for me, I have to say that that's just been, oh my goodness, I have life again too, you know, because I won't be in pain. And I've gotten great results already. And he has such an amazing system. I'm hoping to even help him, you know, expand and bring that to other places, because I searched very hard and I never found a place like this. And I will do a bit of advertisement for him, because anybody that has issues, and by the way, it's mild scoliosis, somebody that's like 20 degrees and under, because once you get two, it can be too hard, you know. So mild scoliosis, neck injuries, they say that a lot of times people will have a car accident and, you know, they'll come into the chiropractic, his business for that, and they end up healthier than when they started, right? Because they can really detect. They did my pelvic, that here's your leg is longer. I mean, it was so comprehensive. So you never know where opportunities are going to happen. And you just got to be so open and looking for it. And that's part of that. Just trust yourself, you know, just trust yourself and look at this as an opportunity. And that's going to be different for all kinds of people. But if you're in a panic mode, oh my God, da, da, da. I'm going to refer back to our other thing, but the probabilities. We always have options. There is never a time ever, as long as you're alive, you don't have some options, even if they're bad options, even if nobody would even think it is an option, you still have an option. And so I like thinking of when I do a piece of art, I have endless color choices. One way I do one shape will change the whole thing of the color, you know, of the painting. If I'm making a song, if I'm doing anything, if I'm making food, what are the options that we have? Mm-hmm. The tools that we have on this planet for creation, for problem solving, for life is just incredible. So even if it's like, okay, I have to go clean toilets, that may not be a great option, but all work is honorable. And, you know, it may be that I have to go ask for help, right? I may need to ask my neighbors if I don't have food. Well, your neighbors might like helping you. You might end up with greater relationships. Yeah. You know, one of the benefits of this is that we all know we're interconnected, right? Now we really are feeling it. And that won't be a bad thing, will it? Tell me a little bit about how you have been, you know, benefiting in the ways of just like, you know, interconnectedness, feeling more apart, feeling more valued.
Yeah. So, you know, what I've been hearing you say is, one, we need to stop. We need to assess the situation. And then the other thing that you haven't really come out and said this word, but you need to be flexible and open to the possibilities, because there's so much out there. And actually today, me and my friend, we drove down in our convertible down to DeKalb Farmers Market. And if you've ever been there, it's a huge, huge market. And we were looking at, I mean, there's a whole row of just jam. I mean, there's just all these possibilities.
Lots of jam possibilities.
You know,
jamming.
Fish, meat, you name it, they got it there.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
I mean, you know, it's just even doing an activity like that to remind yourself that, you know, there's more than just what you can see here. Don't be a horse with your blinders on. Really open up. And it is such an opportunity to think about different ideas. I know many of you have talents that you're not using, or you're, you know, there's a business you thought of doing, or you had something you wanted to invent, but you haven't done it because why? Because you're going to work every day and you're tired when you get home. Well, right now, especially if you're one of the people that are home, you have time. And you were asking me too about, you know, community. So I don't know who else is open in my field, but I am an eye doctor, and right now I'm working at the Pearl Vision in Gainesville, because it's the only place open. We've had people coming for miles. So, just a little plug. If you have an emergency, you broke your glasses, you can't see because you don't have any contacts, or you have an eye infection, or you feel like your vision is going down and you're scared, please come see me. Just a little plug there. Because right now we're open. I know I'm going in tomorrow, but we're going day by day. So, but there's always hope and help around. So look around. Just like Tammy was saying, if you need something, ask your neighbors. People really want to help.
They do.
So I
It
really
helps us.
want to
It
help,
helps us. It creates that bond when it feels good for the people that helped you, and then it also feels good to know that people will help you, and now you have this special connection. And it takes vulnerability to ask, to not be so proud that you think you can just shoulder it all, because nobody can. I can't either. I have a wonderful support system, and what would I do without these people? It's our relationships that are the most treasured, valuable thing. The only thing you take with you is the relationships that you build. And so
Exactly.
you can build more relationships. You can understand that across the world, they're going through very similar things as we are.
Yes, yes, everywhere. I was talking to a friend in Canada, friends in the UK, and I know there's other countries where it's probably even harder for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, just reach out to people and really, like Cam was saying, just really connect with people. People want to help. You bless them when you let them help you.
Yes.
And
Go ahead.
okay.
Sorry. So I did want to talk a little bit about, when things happen to the body, like coronavirus, there are things that the body knows how to do, and there are things you can do to support it. And, just some very, very simple things. I mean, we do know that, people that already have health issues, they are more at risk, but, the others, most of us are not. And if we can just take care of ourselves, but my little sprout friend, she did contract the virus, and she called me early on. It was right in her lungs. And so I had her breathe steam because, moisture in the lungs is very good. Of course, water, make sure you keep eating. I'm still giving her food because now she's on, she has to be isolated and you don't get to go anywhere.
Right.
But, also, there's controversy about it, but colloidal silver I have found works for me as far as, viruses, sinus infections. So you can put a little bit of that in your steam. Like so let's say you don't have a humidifier. Before they used to just boil some water on a pot.
Right.
Okay,
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. You can take and put your towel over the thing so you can breathe it in. So I put colloidal silver, like 1 part colloidal silver to 4 parts of water, and you inhale that. It's also great, same ratio, in a neti pot for sinuses as well. I've gotten rid of sinus infections like that. Of course, lots of juice, liquids, sleep all that you can. The other thing I had her do was listen to Eckhart Tolle.
Does he talk so calmly?
Well, he really talks about going into the observer mode and not letting the mind, the fear, survival mind, because that pattern, it's in all of us. And it takes a lot of discipline to be able to pull back into the observer when you're feeling bad and you're feeling afraid, so he's very relaxing, calming, anything to keep you calm, because it is the panic of the mind going crazy, and which we all do, but anything to keep it calm, soothe yourself. You're going to be okay. Become your own coach. And we all need to be our own coaches, because there's nobody else that we take with us everywhere.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So your self-talk, you should be your best fan. You know what I mean? You should be pumping yourself up. Oh, look how I did that. Oh, look at me. Oh, I'm so smart. and people don't want to say that, to themselves. But why not? Why not? Because if you keep saying it over and over, you're going to feel smart. And you are smart. We're all smart in different ways.
Yes.
Just being your self-taught coach. Oh, my body is so good at, my immune system is so strong. Look at. And when there's mucus and stuff coming out, it's a good sign. It doesn't mean that you're really sick. It means it's coming out. It's doing its job.
It's getting cleaned out. Yeah.
It's getting cleaned out, right? So just anything you can do to keep yourself in that calm, state, knowing that no matter what, things always work out. Big picture, no matter what, always things work out. And just over and over. But I love being your own coach, don't you?
Yes.
I mean, just isn't that the best advice?
Just self-talk to yourself. I mean, I wake up in the morning, and I got this from a friend that told me to do this, and I do this every morning. So it sounds really crazy, but I look at myself in the mirror and I say, "Good morning. I am loved today. I'm the most magnificent person in the whole world." And then I laugh really hard. Because when you wake up in the morning, you're not looking your best.
Right.
So.
No.
But it's the way I start the day, with that and prayers and meditation and, getting myself strong mentally and emotionally, but then eating good food.
Eating good food, yes.
And, taking,
Sleep.
certain supplements. Everybody should be having a lot of C and a lot of D right now, for sure. And I use elderberry. Some people are on the fence about that, but I like the elderberry and, whatever things your body needs. But there's a way that you can stay strong. I mean, I'm out with the public every day. People say,
I
"Are
know,
you
and you're
afraid?"
so good.
No, but I clean constantly. I'm cleaning, and I'm taking care of myself in all the different areas just so that I can come out and serve. And so you can do the same thing. Take care of yourself so you can take care of your family or whatever responsibilities you have.
I agree. It's interesting to me how, especially women, we wake up in the morning and we're wanting to look at ourselves and go, But my grandmother was in a wheelchair and she had rheumatoid arthritis and, had pretty much passed, but she was very, crippled and skinny. And she was the most beautiful lady. Like, she would just listen to my everything. I was the center of the world when it came to grandma. And she would just watch me and she'd have this smile and she'd look at me with those brown eyes and I'll never forget it. And she was just the most beautiful thing ever. I mean, my grandma would listen to my problems and my stories and then she'd go, "You're so smart, you'll figure it out." Isn't that fun?
I love it.
But, I did not care. I mean, to me, she was wrinkled up and, she was just beautiful, having that kind of connection and somebody that would love you like that.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with what we look like, what size we are. Children don't care. Dogs don't care. Why do we care so much? I think that it's another thing we could just let go of and be ourselves, which is we all have something amazing, an essence about us.
Yeah.
Every single person. And when people say be transparent or be yourself, kids know how to do that.
Yes, they do.
Adults, we have a hard time being ourselves. We don't want to look stupid. We don't, all of these requirements. And when really all that everybody wants to see is just you responding naturally in the moment and not putting anything on and not trying to be something or an image, just being yourself. There's nothing else you ever need to be, because anything else people can see through anyway. And just accepting how amazing we look in the mornings or now as you look all beautiful. And
yeah,
that doesn't mean we don't dress up. Okay. That doesn't mean
we can still dress up.
That's so that I can, but that's so that I can admire, you know what I mean? It's, we want to even enhance and make it more beautiful. It's just an enhancement. And it says that we care about ourselves because we're taking care of ourselves and taking care of our bodies. You're right about the food. This is a race car, right? I got this race car needs to serve me for a long time. So I'm going to give myself race car fuel.
Yes.
Right? You want to treat it. This is your best property right here. So you want to treat it as good as you can and not skimp and not beat it up and not think it's bad because it's giving you a pain. It's telling you something. It's communicating. So even pain is good. It's giving you information so you can take action.
Exactly. So yeah, when you were talking about your essence, A lot of you know that I am actually launching a course on finding your passion. It's called Live Your Passion. So if anyone's interested in that, the first thing we do is find out your essence, who you are. So because how can you find your
We're
passion?
talking the same language.
We're talking, yeah. So if anybody's interested in that, just, private message me. I'm happy to talk to you about it.
Okay.
So is there any last words you want to advise? Anything you want to share with people?
I think this is it is an incredible time. And I think even though I know there are people that are really struggling for all kinds of reasons, I think that since we're in this together, there's going to be a lot of forgiveness on a lot of things, and just to relax, and trust that try to look big picture, go look outside, nature, children, flowers. They're wonderful reminders that while you may be, feeling like your life is falling apart, the world in the nature, everything is still going, and it's still going to be there. The sun still comes up no matter what happens, who's with you, who's not with you, and just relax.
Yeah.
Love life.
I love that. We'll end with that. Just love life.
Love life. No matter where it is and where you are, love life.
All right. We'll talk to you all again soon.